In this segment, I want to highlight some of the issues that are being discussed by Asian feminist theology. Due to the limitation of time, I will be highlighting the issues of language and Christology just to get us started. I will mainly be interacting with chapters 5 and 6 of Kwok Hui Lan's book. Now, the language for theology is inherently masculine. In the pluralistic Asian context, there are many different concepts of God. It is not important if there's only one God or many gods. Asians do not have a problem with God being fully human and fully God at the same time. While Western cultures have only recently embarked on the search for feminine images of God, Asian cultures have always been surrounded by strong female figures. Missionaries in China debated for centuries on how to translate the term God into Chinese. In the Asian context, there are many names for God, some of which are female. Chun Hyung Kyung proposes some names like life force, ki, energy of raw life, ruach, the mysterious female, and other names that can refer to God as well. God cannot be limited by our language. In the Chinese language, pronouns are not gender specific. The word for mankind is gender inclusive. The Chinese word 人 is rendered more as humankind. However, words like slave, cunning, adulteress, etc. are based on the female radical. In South Asian cultures, the children are defined as a son and daughter of the father only. In Korea, the term for God is Hananim, which is a combination of two words, which is respectful and being. However, Korean churches also often use the word Abuji, meaning father. Western hymns that are translated to Asian languages still bear the anthrocentric language. This simply means that biases still exist, different from Western biases, but biases nonetheless. What you practice in the Asian context is much more important than what you believe or talk about. Yang Lee Hertig in the article, The Asian American Alternative to Feminism, proposes a yin and yang language when approaching this subject. On Christology, the Asian feminist theology varies widely due to the diversity of Asia. There needs to be a reinterpretation of sin. In the androcentric Asian context, women were more than sinners. Asian women were also sinned against. Other than sin and spiritual reconciliation with God, redemption also means liberation from bondage. Lee Woo-jung uses the biblical term shalom to describe this. Mary Mananzan describes this as total liberation. The suffering of Jesus is seen as unjust suffering by African American theologian Dolores Williams. The cross was used to justify slavery and genocide. What is redemptive is not Jesus' death, but his life. Asian cultures, through the lens of Buddhism, see suffering as an inevitable part of human existence. Jesus' suffering shows that he is fully human and co-sufferer of the minjung, the masses. In Philippines, Jesus is a fully liberated human being, colonized by Spain for more than 300 years and US for about 50 years. Strong influences from Latin American culture and liberation theology exists. Mary Mananzan, after the resurrection of Christ, the fully liberated Christ empowers people to have courage to struggle in the face of danger and insecurity. Western feminist theology questions whether a male Jesus can save women. But in the Asian feminist theology, we see the maleness of Jesus as simply a historical accident rather than an ontological necessity in the liberation process. In Korea, Jesus can be seen as a priest of Han. While Buddhism, Confucianism, and Christianity are seen as imported religions, shamanism is seen as the indigenous Korean practice. Majority of those consulting shamans are women. Women often exercise leadership and perform important healing roles. Chun Hyung Kyung encourages theologians to shift their focus from institutional religions to the people's religions, like shamanism. She proposes 4 steps to constructing a Christology. First, to listen to the people's stories of hunger, impoverishment, and need. This means committing ourselves to the people's struggle as the beginning point of the process. Second, socio-political and religio-cultural analysis of why people are hungry and their lives diminish. This leads to criticism of Christianity in terms of its relationship to colonialism and neo-colonialism. Third, there needs to be a search for life-giving fragments and tradition. This means we need to find the places where the story of Jesus and the story of the people converge. Finally, we can build a Christology and a community on these stories. This is all I have time for. Now I'd like to pass the time to Pastor Solo. Thank you very much for listening.